David Cantley entered the Australian Defence Force in 1988 and joined RAEME as a metalsmith. This is a trade very much like a boilermaker, but with the versatility to work on everything from trucks, boats to tanks. Later he transferred trades and became an aircraft structural fitter. David assumed in this role he'd never deploy overseas. How wrong he was. Here is Dave's incredible story.
It is dusk at Cantley Air Base, an armed camp of 50,000 foreign soldiers, contractors and airmen, and the logistical hub of the war in southern Afghanistan.
You land there. Whereabouts are you in Afghanistan?
Right, so we landed in Kandahar, so it's Kandahar Air Base. They've got a range. It's not really a range, it's just shooting over the mountains. It basically goes over into Pakistan. Their houses, they're made of mud, they're called koalas. And so I had a good crack at one and just went, brought the machine gun onto it and just obliterated this koala. And this American, they've got civvies over there running, and he come running and he's going, stop. And I go, so he goes, there's people in there. Oh God. So I actually, well, we don't know, but so there's, because it was, well, we're gonna have to go and check, but we can't because the whole area is uncleared because it's landmines. That much shit everywhere in Afghan. As soon as you leave any unmanned tracks, you're taking your life into your own hands.
So this house and compound...
No, it's just a house.
Yeah, was on the range?
Yeah, it's not a range as such. It's just what they call a range.
At the back of TK?
Yeah, yeah.
How does that sit with you, Dave?
Well, that took me... I can talk about it now without ending up in tears and that, but it was... Well, it's fucked. It really is fucked. Now they didn't want to do anything about it. That was all hush hush. But I brought it up in my return RTAPs, and it's been taken out of my RTAPs, and then I put it in my site file, and that's just one big ass. Well, you know what it's like. That's just one big ass covering after another, and this is a thing that I put into the Royal Commission. Like I said, I'll talk about it now openly because I put this into my open case for the Royal Commission.
So thinking about that incident, you know, in our minds, a range is something that's tightly controlled.
Yes.
And
there it wasn't. There was none. And it was just a big yippee shoot. That's all it was just, here's our toys, you have a go with your toys, and that's all it was. It was just a big adrenaline. And they just wanted to hide it because they knew they'd fucked up monumentally. And it was, yeah. So yeah, we used to always talk to the Yanks and the Brits, and like we got along famously with the Brits. And in the end, we ended up on a bit of a swan trip to Bastion with the Brits, and that was only supposed to be a day. And yeah, the aircraft ended up going down. We had a bit of a problem with their with the hydraulics. We got attacked by Taliban on that trip. As if you just wouldn't fucking read about it. And Yeah, and 3 of them, they got shot, but with the Brits. So anyway, we didn't get any injuries, and the Brits, they actually they carry body bags, and they bring the bodies back. So we helped them put the bodies in the bags, and I don't know how, but they got the chopper going, and so we flew back to Bastion. We were only supposed to say that night, and so but the British, their psychs, they were unbelievable, doing the psych debriefs and all that. So we were there for about 3 days. So they got through their SIGs and all that. They told our headquarters what had happened and all that, and told them that we were staying and that we were getting debriefed and all that. And
So the people that were KIA,
yeah,
were they crewmen on the British aircraft?
no, they were all Taliban.
How did you feel though, being caught up in, what was just a ride to Bastion?
Yeah, well, that was weird. I used to think I was always going to be an atheist. Oh, not an atheist, a pacifist.
Yeah.
But when someone's firing at you, it's your life or theirs. Yeah. Yep. I never thought I could take a life, but it soon cuts in. Yeah. C Squadron was getting deployed to Afghanistan. So even though I still wasn't signed up as a tradesman and I was still a trainee, much to the, what could we say, the disappointment, or some of the other crafties, they're a little bit pissed about it. I go, well, you sat over in the other squadrons, you weren't, you didn't volunteer to come over here. I sat there all the time, doing the overtime, working the weekends, working the evenings to get these aircraft battle ready, because the amount of modifications and that we had to do, because it was a complete different scenario in Afghanistan. So, we were working with scientists, engineers from Sydney, from Boeing and all that, so the aircrafts had never been there, so there was just so much work to be done, so that was it. So, yeah.
And how did you personally feel about being selected?
I took it as a very respectful for that reason, because I was still a trainee. Yeah. Granted, I was a lot older and maturer, obviously, because I'd had a civilian trade. I'd had an army trade, and now, well, this is now my 3rd trade, but yeah, but I was still, that was a very respectful thing to do. Yep.
Walk me through that time, Dave, of being ready to, the preparation at the squadron, getting the aircraft ready for loading, how they were transported, and how did you get over to the Middle East?
Right. The aircraft themselves, because they're so big, all the tail sections, all the engines, they're all they're pulled off. Basically, they're disassembled, so that you've just got the main frame, all the blades, they're taken off, and everything is put inside the Chinook, and then that is put inside the other crew. They flew down to Sydney with them, and I didn't go with them. So we flew out of Townsville on it was a contracted flight. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And where did you fly direct to?
Right from Townsville by just a civilian flight. Then from there to Sydney. Then from Sydney we got onto it's a civilian aircraft, but it's contracted by Defence. And then from there, we flew from there, stopped off at Al Udeid, stayed overnight at Al Udeid. Then we picked up the last of our gear in Al Udeid, then flew from Al Udeid. So then we picked up our weapons and that, our styres. We picked up all our body armour, helmets, all our battle gear at Al Udeid. Then we flew by Herc from Al Udeid to Afghanistan. So that was a stinking shitty flight.
You land there. Whereabouts are you in Afghanistan?
Right, so we landed in Kandahar, so it's Kandahar Air Base, and the ascent is just unbelievable. It's just, you're flying, then it's just a vertical drop, because they're trying to fire mortars as you're coming in. Yeah, so the landing and takeoffs are just vertical. Yeah, it's a pretty good. It's a blowout, but they tell you, they try and tell you what to expect, but your first landing and first takeoff's just a bit of a mind spin.
So, what was Kandahar Air Base like back then? You know, considering that it had been a Russian base over their Afghan war, to the time that you arrived there in 2006. What was it like?
In 2006, it was right. We landed. When we landed, we walked through what they called the entrance. It was where the Taliban had their last fight, and everything was just obliterated. There's no windows left. There's just bullet holes, just rubbish everywhere. So
what about the base itself and your accommodation?
Right.
You know, what did Australia set up, or the Americans?
We were lucky. We had good accommodation. So we actually they bussed us up in little mini buses. So in our there's about 30 approximately 30, maybe 40 of us in our tech support. So they had 2 little mini buses, and so they took us up there, and so it's all it's the first time it was all dirt roads, and you're driving on the right hand side of the road. You've got to get your head around there. You just got it's the dust. Now when it was it was in February, so it was freezing cold. Yeah, like it was snowing. There was ice everywhere. There was snow everywhere. We got, this is Afghanistan. We thought it's going to be 40, 50 degrees. No, it was freezing cold. And then so to get from the actual runway to where we were living, the accommodation was only, I don't know, 2 minutes, 2 minutes drive, 3 minutes. So it's only 2k away, not even that. Then, so we're in our own accommodation. So we had our headquarters, Q store, RPS, and then we had all just like, you know how you have your dongers in up mining. So that's all it was. But hey, it was comfy. We had a bed each, so there was 4 to a room, and we had a small showers, toilets. We had everything that you could need.
You mentioned the cold, and you know it's in the minuses, of course.
Yep.
How did you go reconstructing the Chinooks in that weather?
Gloves, fingerless gloves.
Tell me about it. Yeah.
So the aircraft, it took about four or 5 days before the aircraft turned up. Now, before that, so we had to do all introduction to country, or your workplace health and safety, just your typical, all your lessons and all that. Now, on the last day, the day before the aircraft turned up, so in the morning it was absolutely bitter, and then we went in to do the last of the lessons, and we come out for morning tea, and it was snowing. Then lunchtime, we come out, we had a break for lunch, it was raining, and it was the rain there is, it's raindrops, they're like that, they're massive, but it's just bitter cold, the rain. Then an hour or so later we had another break. The sun had come out, and it's nice and warm. Then in the afternoon we finished about 3 o'clock. The sun had been out since an hour or so ago, and it was about 20 degrees. Then by the afternoon, by evening, by about 6 o'clock, it had hit about 35 degrees. So it went from that morning, which was minus, to 35 degrees in one day. And then the next day it was 40, 45, 50, and that was it.
A very short winter.
Yeah, it took a day.
A day. And so the aircraft come back together.
Yep.
They start flying tasks.
That's it, yep. Yes.
So what, on a daily basis as operations ramped up, what was your role?
Right, so myself and Brett, we were the 2 aircraft structural fitters. So ours was to maintain all the skins, all the composites, do any repairs, any if it gets any damage. So we have 2 aircraft, one's online, as that goes out on a mission, then you give them half an hour to make sure that it doesn't come back. Then once they're definitely out on the sortie, then we can work on the other aircraft. And then you just keep swapping them over. That one goes, that one comes back, and they just do a leapfrog constantly for the whole rotation. Yeah.
How long was the rotation?
So we do 4 monthly rotations. So the reason behind that is because the aircraft don't fly that well in freezing temperatures. And also the Taliban, they don't fight in winter. Yeah, so, yeah.
So talking about that, give me your perspective of the actual country itself, the terrain, and you know, the people, you know, that whole bigger environment. What did you see, and you know? Yeah.
Right. So so we've got the miniguns on the left and right hand sides. So don't forget port and starboard. Now so the SF were up at TK. So we went up there to basically let them have a play of the miniguns, so that then we'd go and have a play with all their toys. So they took one of the miniguns off the aircraft, mounted on the back of a Unimog. Now, they've got a range. It's not really a range, it's just shooting over the mountains. It basically goes over into Pakistan. And so, you just, because they're electrically driven, we just used some truck batteries and just firing it straight over the mountain, so they're all having a go at that. And in the afternoon, everyone was having a go. Then I had a go. And they've got they've got their houses, they're made of mud, they're called koalas. And so I had a good crack at one and just brought the machine gun onto it and just obliterated this koala. And this American, they've got civvies over there running, and he come running and he's going, stop. And I go, so he goes, there's people in there. Oh God. So I actually, well, we don't know, but so there's, because it was, well, we're going to have to go and check, but we can't because the whole area is uncleared because it's landmines. That much shit everywhere in Afghan. As soon as you leave any unmanned tracks, you're taking your life into your own hands.
So this house and compound...
No, it's just a house.
Yeah, was on the range?
Yeah, it's not a range as such. It's just what they call a range.
At the back of TK?
Yeah, yeah. And because the miniguns have such the range that they've got, and you're shooting 3,000 rounds a minute, if not more, and they don't have that capability. And yeah, so we don't know whether the family was in there or not. So to this day, I still don't know whether I've killed anyone or not.
How does that sit with you, Dave?
Well, that took me, I can talk about it now without ending up in tears and that, but it was, well, it's fucked. It really is fucked. Now they didn't want to do anything about it. That was all hush hush. But I brought it up in my return my RTAPs, and it's been taken out of my RTAPs, and then I put it in my psych file, and that's just one big ass. Well, you know what it's like. That's just one big ass covering after another, and this is a thing that I put into the Royal Commission. Like I said, I'll talk about it now openly because I put this into my open case for the Royal Commission, and that's
So thinking about that incident, you know, in our minds, a range is something that's tightly controlled.
Yes.
And
there it wasn't. There was none, and it was just a big yippee shoot. That's all it was just, here's our toys, have a go with your toys, and that's all it was. It was just a big adrenaline. And they just wanted to hide it because they knew they'd fucked up monumentally. And it was, yeah. Yep.
So Dave, you completed 4 months?
Yep, yeah.
Back to 5 Avon?
Yep.
And how long did you spend back in Australia?
Oh yeah, sorry, another one, 2009. That was the second one to Afghan.
So another 4 months?
Yes, yep, yeah. Yep.
What was the difference between 2006, 2009?
I was the, by then I was the corporal then. So I was running the section and I had a really, really good crafty with me. Yeah, a good mate, so, yeah, so.
But operations were ramped up even more over 2009?
Yeah, they were. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. We went to actually we went to Bastion because aviation, they're funny, they're insular. They don't like talking to other people. I don't know what it is with them. They just think they're better than everyone else. But I think it just comes from being older and having another trade that I always go out and source things, and I don't know, we just say, myself and I'll call him Tank rather than use his real name. So yeah, we used to always talk to the Yanks and the Brits, and like we got along famously with the Brits. And in the end, we ended up on a bit of a swan trip to Bastion with the Brits, and that was only supposed to be a day. And yeah, the aircraft ended up going down. We had a bit of a problem with their with the hydraulics.
So the aircraft you were on?
Yes, on one of their aircraft.
So where did you
going?
Tell us about that.
On the way to Bastion. Yep. So that went down, and it actually got into a we got attacked by Taliban on that trip. As if you just wouldn't fucking read about it. And yeah, and three of them they got shot, but with the Brits. So anyway, we didn't get any injuries, and the Brits, they actually they carry body bags, and they bring the bodies back. So we helped them put the bodies in the bags, and I don't know how, but they got the chopper going, and so we flew back to Bastion, and we've got these bloody bodies in the aircraft with us. And so we were only supposed to say that night, and so but the British, their psychs, they were unbelievable, doing the psych debriefs and all that. They were, yeah. So we were there for about 3 days. So they got through their SIGs and all that. They told our headquarters what had happened and all that, and told them that we were staying and that we were getting debriefed and all that, and that they were looking after us. And so yeah, and they were just.
So the people that were KIA,
yeah,
were they crewmen on the British aircraft?
No, they were all Taliban. Yeah, there was a pilot, the 2 pilots. There's myself, Tank, Eagle, Bosch, the other one, that's 5, 6, 7, tail gunner, 8. Did I say myself? There's only 9 of us on the aircraft.
And that was the CH-47?
No, that's British Chinook.
Yeah, Chinook.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's gone down with hydraulic problems. Taliban popped up, and they basically took out 3 of the Taliban, and then brought them back, obviously, for identification, etc.
Yep.
How did you feel though, being caught up in, what was just a ride to Bastion?
Yeah, well, that was weird. I used to think I was always going to be an atheist. Oh, not an atheist,
Agnostic?
No, not pacifist.
Okay.
But when when someone's firing at you, you actually, it's your life or theirs. Yeah. Yep. I never thought I could take a life, but it soon cuts in. Yeah.
So having walked on that edge, Dave, how did that sort of impact the rest of the your tour there, you know, you've been caught up in something that's really well outside the scope of your job?
Yeah, that was because of the Sykes were so quick and so good. They just did an amazing job. Like, what happened at TK, like I used to have nightmares for years and years because they were innocent. And that's what I carried that for a long, long time. But at Bastion, on the way to Bastion, that was different. That was a level playing ground. Yeah. Yeah.
You spoke about part of your role was repairing damage to the aircraft.
Yep.
What sort of damage did you find yourself repairing over those deployments?
A lot of it was stupid mistakes by people driving our forklifts into the back of the loading. We had a couple of rounds and that go through the airframe. So I got to do the first battle damage on an Australian Chinook in Afghan, so that was a bit of a worry to tell back home. Yeah, so
That deployment, the second one there, came to an end.
yep.
What happened after you returned to Australia?
Right. Well, I'll go back a little bit. Since 2006, when I came back, I was on antidepressants. And so, because of what happened. So, so the whole time I was on antidepressants, and then as soon as they wanted me to go again, they go, well, you can't deploy while you're on antidepressants. We're going in another month or so, take you off it. No winding down, that's it. You're on your own for 4 months. So,
How did that work for you? You're back in that environment.
it
dust,
didn't.
the smells, everything.
It all came back. So because we're working so close with others, you can get alcohol from anywhere. So all you did was you find the local source of alcohol, and you'll find it everywhere, even in the Muslim country. So because we work so closely with the Brits and they work with their SAS, we did work for them, and in payment for alcohol and beers. Just to numb.
Just to numb it.
Yeah, yeah.
So how'd you go when you came back the second time?
And then you come back, then you go see the doctor again. I need back on the antidepressants. Then they put you back on. Then, do you need to see a psychiatrist or a psychologist? Yeah, I'll see them. You tell them what they want. Oh no, you're fine. Just keep taking the antidepressants. Then the next one, 2010, you've got to go to Timor. Well, you're going to have to come back off the antidepressants. In 2010, 2011, you're going again, come off the antidepressants. In 2012, you're going again, you can't take the antidepressants. Oh, hang on, 2010, I'd just gotten back from Afghan, and they wanted me to go back for a third time. I'm going, I'm not going back. I said, third strike, you're out. I said, after what happened, I said, no way. I said, it's a numbers game. I said, I'm refusing. And they're going, well, it's not voluntary. I'm going, every deployment's voluntary. They're going, no, it's not. I go, absolutely it is. And they, like I had the RSM and the CO, I go, yes, you are. I'm going, no, I'm not. I said, I've done enough. I said, no. I said, I'm not going. And then they're going, well, you've got to do the training. I said, I'm sick to death of this training. I said, I'm not going. They said, well, what about Timor? If you don't do Afghan, what about Timor? I'm going, I just need a break. I said, we all need a break. I said, it's just too much. So anyway, so I said, well, I'll do Timor. But before they did that, they said, well, we have to sort it out. So then they had me doing the training for both of them at the same time. I'm going, you must be joking. I'm going, you know, I'm this close. So I was in a lesson, it's one of the lessons. And one of the instructors, I said something and it was just ridiculous. And I just lost it. Just said something and I just walked out. He goes, where are you going? I said, you've got no idea. I said, you've never been over there. I said, with this shit that's coming out of your mouth. And the RSN goes, where are you going, Dave? I said, I'm not going to fucking Afghan. I said, sorry, sir, I'm not. I said, you take my name off. That's it. End of story. And then just walked out, so I never went.
So, Dave Cantley joins up in 1988. What were you like back then? What was your view of the world? How did you see joining Army in the Great Peace, as we used to call it?
I was excited, something great, something new, permanent work. Yeah, because I was only going to sign up for 4 years. Yeah, just something exciting. I'd always wanted to do it, but I wanted to live a little bit because I joined when I was 24, so a little bit older than others. Yeah.
If you could reach back to that 1988, Dave Cantley, what would you say today?
I'd still say join. I really would. But no, I don't think I'd do anything differently, because all out of the 24 years and 11 months, they wouldn't give me that 25 years. I had 22 fantastic years and just 3 shitty years. And so those 3 shitty years weren't going to destroy all those good years. Yeah.
And are you proud of your service?
Absolutely I am. Yeah, I am. Yeah. At one stage I wasn't, in those when, and that's where the psychs helped me. I'm over the hump, and now I can talk openly about it. Yeah.
It brings me to today. You this morning, you know, you're out there training a dog all the way down at Sorrel.
Yep.
You know, a good 3 hours away.
Yeah.
Tell us about that. Tell us about your dog and what that training is about.
Right. So Pink's now my 3rd assistance dog. My old fella, Buddy, he was a little black staffy, and he was 13 when he passed. I had him he was my assistance dog for about 2 years before. Yeah, he started with late in life as an old gentleman as an assistance dog. They started him really late, but he was so easy to train. Yeah, they fell in love with him. Yep, that was Craig Gresham. He's a veteran. Yep, so Craig took Buddy on, and then when he passed away, I got Flocky. He's an American Staffy crossed with Boxer, and he's just a big doofus. And he was almost ready to get his learner's jacket, but unfortunately he'd been attacked by dogs off lead in St Helens, and now he's scared of all dogs. Yeah, so now we've got 2 dogs. Now I've got Pink, so she's a little English pointer, and she's a super little girl, and So they're trained today, so she reckons another 3 lessons and hopefully she's going to sit for a public access test and she'll get a learner's jacket. Yeah.
Dave, as we conclude this interview, is there anything else you'd like to talk about? We've covered a lot of ground.
We have. Look, there's been a lot of talk about veteran suicide. Now, I'm the Wellbeing Officer now for St Helens sub-branch, and in the past I've attempted it. I've done it twice. It's just don't do it. Reach out and talk to someone, because once you're gone, and the people you leave behind, they're the ones they're the ones who are going to be left, and they're going to grieve, and you're going to hurt them. It's just not worth it. Yeah, so don't do it. Yeah, always talk to your mates.
And you mentioned the Royal Commission into veteran suicide. You know, do you think that is a worthwhile process?
I think it is. I really do. It's the change with DVA has been phenomenal. It really has. Not so much with defence. They've got a long way to go. But they will get there. They really will. There's a lot of work still to be done, but I hope they get there. I really do. Yeah. They have to take. They have to acknowledge it. I don't think they are, but hopefully they do. Yeah.